Pole Star, Dhruv Tara, and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. The greatest journey towards the pole star. This is the story of Dhruv from the SrimadBhagavad Purana. The North Star or the pole star, which is also known as Polaris, is famous for holding nearly still in our sky while the entire northern sky moves around it. And that is because it's located nearly at the north celestial pole, the point around which the entire northern sky turns. Polaris, or the North Star, marks the way due, and when we look at it astronomically, the pole star is the brightest star in the constellation of Ursa Minor. Pole star, also called the Northern Hemisphere, is the bright star that appears nearest to either celestial pole at any particular time. Polaris is located at a distance of 434 light years from Earth and has luminosity nearly 4,000 times that of our Sun. Pole star is around 50 times bigger than our Sun. It has an estimated diameter of around 44 million miles and a radius of about 22 million miles. The mass is estimated to be around 5.4 times that of our Sun. It is also called Dhruv. Now Dhruv, which is a star near the North Pole of the heavens, this star was a guide to the seafarers in the days when we did not have a compass or a radar. So, a pole star is a guide or a director. In the Indian ancient text, Puranas, we have what is called Dhruv Tara, and that is the pole star. Dhruv Tara is personified as the son of King Uttanpad and the grandson of Manu. This star, being a fixed star, its longitude is unchangeable. It is referred to as the celestial divine pole star. The story of Dhruv goes as follows. Once there was a king called Uttanpad who had two queens, Suniti and Suruchi. Queen Suniti was the older queen. She was very good and kind and gentle. She had a little son called Dhruv. Queen Suruchi, the younger queen, was a beautiful but proud and arrogant queen. Suruchi too had a son who was called Uttam. Now, Suruchi was determined that her son Uttam should be king when he grows up. But since Dhruv was the older son, he was more likely to be made king. Therefore, Suruchi decided to get rid of Suniti and her baby son Dhruv. Now, Suruchi, being the king's favorite queen, it was easy for her to play this game. Uttanpad loved her for her beauty and was willing to do anything to make her happy. So, Suruchi made him banish Queen Suniti and Dhruv into the forest far away from the royal palace. Suniti lived quietly in the forest, bringing up her little son, who grew to be a bright, clever boy. One day, when Dhruv was 7, he asked Queen Suniti, "Ma, who is my father?" Suniti smiled sadly. "The great King Uttanpad himself is your father, Dhruv," she said. "He lives far away in the royal palace." Dhruv said, "I want to meet my father, Ma. Can I go and visit him in his palace?" Queen Suniti blessed him and let him go to meet his father. Soon Dhruv reached the king's palace. King Uttanpad was sitting in his gardens, admiring the flowers and listening to the birds. Dhruv ran up to him, touched his feet, and said, "O king, do you recognize me? I am your son Dhruv." The king was overjoyed with love and affection. He picked up the little boy and sat him on his lap. Just then, Suruchi appeared, holding her little son Uttam by the hand. She was furious when she realized that the little boy in the king's lap was none other than Dhruv, Queen Suniti's son. She, she told him, "You horrible little brat, how dare you come here?" And she snatched Dhruv out of the king's arms and got him thrown out of the palace. She also screamed at Dhruv, "Never ever come back. It is not you, but my son Uttam, who will be the king one day. There is no place here for you or your mother." Dhruv, only 7, very hurt, disappointed, and crying, but not fully understanding the game for the throne. He went back to his mother in the forest. He was very quiet and thoughtful all day long. Finally asked Suniti, "Ma, is there anyone more powerful than the king?" Queen Suniti said, "Yes, beta. Narayan, Sri Hari, Vishnu is more powerful than the king." He asked her, "Where does he live?" And Queen Suniti replied, "Far away in the mountains." That night, when his mother was asleep, Dhruv left the house and began walking towards the mountains. He walked and he walked and he walked, carried on, and thought only of Narayan Sri Hari Vishnu. Narayan is no other than the great Sri Vishnu, the preserver of the world, also known as Sri Krishna. Finally, he came to the edge of the northern sky, where he met the Rishi, sage Narad, and asked Naradji, O Naradji, please, where can I find Narayan? Narad Muni, who was worried that a 5-year-old boy like him would face many difficulties in the forest, he warned Dhruv that wild animals could eat him up. But Dhruv was determined to find the Lord Vishnu. Impressed by his determination, Narad taught him how to survive in the forest. And he gave him the mantra Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which he said could please Lord Vishnu. For many months, Dhruv prayed in the forest and faced many difficulties. He even stopped eating. With every breath, he only chanted the mantra in praise of Sri Hari Vishnu, the Almighty God. In meditation, Dhruv thought of only Narayan. His meditations released such tremendous energy that the very earth shook and disturbed the Saptarishis, the 7 sages who were meditating nearby. They wondered who it could be who was releasing such energy by the strength of his meditation. It must be a great king or a god to have so much power. They were amazed to find it was only a little boy. The rishis then, all of them surrounded him and started praying and meditating with him. Soon, the Lord of the Swarg, the 7th heaven, Lord Indra, the king of the gods, became worried. What does this little boy want from Sri Hari Narayan? He wondered. Maybe it is my throne in the heavens that he will ask for. That made Indradev very insecure. So Indra tried to distract Dhruv from his meditation. He took on the form of Queen Suniti, Dhruv's mother, and begged him to come back home. But Dhruv did not hear him. Indradev sent all kinds of monsters, snakes, and evil creatures to scare little Dhruv and make him give up his meditation. But Dhruv stood still and calm, unaware of anything except Narayan. So, Narayan, Sri Hari Vishnu, came down to the forest and stood before Dhruv. I am here, Dhruv, he said. What is it that you want so much? But Dhruv only smiled when he opened his eyes and he saw Narayan. So, Sri Hari Vishnu turned Dhruv into a little star and placed him high in the sky above the world and away from all jealousy and evil. He turned the 7 rishis who had protected Dhruv as he was praying into stars as well and placed them protectively around the little Dhruv Tara, Dhruv star. On learning about the Dhruv Tara, King Uttanpad thought about his son's resolution, and he was feeling very guilty and sorry for his own actions. When Dhruv returned, King Uttanpad was waiting for him at the gates of his kingdom. He took his son lovingly into his arms. He brought him and Queen Suniti back to the palace. Uttanpad later made Dhruv the king, saying that the boy who could do tapasya at such a young age could easily rule any kingdom. Dhruv became a wise king and ruled for many years. And when he shed his mortal body, when he passed on, he became the star in the sky. And this star is called Dhruv Tara or pole star, and is the brightest among the sky, all the stars in the sky. It can be easily spotted by the naked eye. All other stars and constellations move around it throughout the year, but Dhruv Tara does not change its position in the sky. This is because of its alignment with the Earth's axis of rotation. Travelers also look up to this star to find their way, as it always points north. Even today, when you look up into the sky, you will be able to see a little star shining high above. This little star never moves, as it is Dhruv, who never moved from his meditation on Sri Hari Vishnu Narayan. We call this star the pole star, and in Hindi, Dhruv Tara. And the Saptarishis can also be seen slowly moving around the pole star. These 7 stars form the constellation known as Saptarishi, and in other parts of the world known as the Great Bear constellation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya is one of the most popular Hindu mantras and the most important mantra in Vaishnavism. It is also called Dwadakshari Akshari Mantra, meaning the 12-syllable mantra dedicated to Lord Vishnu, Sri Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om refers to the Supreme Infinite Spirit or person. Om represents the Shabda Brahman. Namo means salutations, worship, a common spoken valediction. Namo. Bhagavate in Sanskrit, someone who is considered God, powerful, merciful. Bhagavate, divine. And Vasudevaya is, Vasu means life in all beings, Devai means God. This means God who lives of all other beings. Krishna, also known as Vasudev, because he was the son of Vasudev. And in the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun called Krishna by the name Vasudev many times. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya means prostration to Vasudev, who is variously understood as Krishna or Vishnu. The other meaning is to abandon all varieties of duties or desires. As Krishna says, just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. Krishna also proclaimed everybody should recite Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya whenever is possible. And he promises, I respond to the call of the heart immediately and invariably. And the proof of that is in this beautiful, beautiful dedication by Prince Dhruv from SrimadBhagavad chapter 4.8. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.